Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Clear for Eight podcast. We're up to what, episode 5 now? It's me.
Yeah.
It's me, Knox. Sujak is excited.
Mhm.
Clarissa's here. She's excited too. We're all excited. We love podcast time. But we're the Final Fantasy 14 podcast, obviously. We like talking about Final Fantasy 14, general MMO stuff, video games, whatever might come up. But generally, we always come back to Final Fantasy because it's what we know and love the most. And today we're going to be mostly focusing on new players and what they might be going through out there or not going through. Who knows? New players miss stuff. I know I did. We all did.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into it, let's do a little. How was the week? What happened in our week of gaming?
Well, T Static made it to BJCC and T,
Yeah.
which, if you don't know, it's an ultimate fight, and it's the Epic of Alexander, and that's kind of like the third phase, and
Yeah.
it's Brute Justice Cruise Chaser together, and so we got to that, which was pretty cool because last week was our first week.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So I'm hoping we can get a quick clear on this.
We got to hear some new music in the fight, which was very exciting. Not that the
Yeah.
first I like all of the music in that raid series. But it's nice to hear something different.
Yeah.
You can
for
only hear
sure.
the same song on repeat so many times.
This
Mhm.
is true.
Yeah. So yeah, that was us this week in the game. And then also, patch 6.35 came out.
It did.
So some of that stuff has kept me busy. I know, there's some contention, but um I think it was a perfect reasonable 6.35 patch.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
There wasn't
It's
much
fine.
to, I guess, yeah. I mean, it was just fine. I wasn't expecting a whole bunch. We knew what was coming. We got the deep dungeon. That looks cool. We haven't gotten a chance to really dive into that. I was super busy and we just, we didn't get a chance, but we do want to go in as a group and check it out and really dive into that a bit. There was the weapon, the relic weapon, which if you like the Manderville quest line, it was great. If you're like me and it's just kind of it was But the solo duty was really cool. There's a solo duty in there, and I don't want to give anything away on anyone, but that was a very cool fight.
Yeah, I like that. It was fun.
I wasn't expecting it. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yep, I did like that. And then the crafting gathering tribe or the crafting tribe quests, and then the tools.
That was pretty cool. I was not sure what direction they were going to go with that, but the music styling and choice for them was pretty awesome. I'm trying to be a little vague. I don't want to ruin it for anyone that hasn't quite done it yet, but that was very cool. I was kind of bopping.
I like that, and there's a little bit of mystery in the story so far, so I appreciate that.
I'm gonna have to do that later. I haven't done it yet. These good reviews, they've enticed me.
You haven't seen it yet?
No, because I don't like crafting. I really have to drag my feet to do that type of content.
To be fair, with
I'm in it for the story.
with the tribes, it's so easy.
Okay, I haven't done a crafting tribe yet. I did gathering with the last one. That was easy.
you don't even need to be good at crafting. It's literally like 3 buttons.
Oh, good.
For them.
I can do it.
Even if you need high quality, the recipes are 10 levels below 90. They're 80.
So you can use train die.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can.
Okay.
It's brain dead content for crafting. It's not meant to, just like combat and gathering. They're not meant to challenge you. It's just meant to be a progression thing to do. So.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Go get your stuff. Easy peasy.
Yep. I will say you probably need like Scripps crafting gear maybe?
Okay. I think I might have
I
some.
don't
Or
know. I don't know. I'm
something
in
like
Scripps Crafted gear, so
okay, so yeah,
the Scripps
that's
gear.
probably
Yeah.
because
Okay, that's not too bad.
I have a bad point of reference because I'm like New Gear, Uber, Penta melded. Like I hit one button and it's just like poof done. I'm like, so yeah, my frame of reference isn't good.
Yeah, I was in the purple script gear, and I don't even think you needed that much. I was doing the stuff easy. It was no problem.
Good. That's
Well,
good.
I'll give it a try.
You should. It's it's cool. I like
I
it.
like the story. Yep. I think they've done a good job with the tribe quests this expansion.
Yeah. I was super pumped for the gathering one
Yeah, the gathering
cuz
one is pretty cool.
yeah, I
That one's
called
been
it
good.
like I can't give it I don't want to talk about the story part too much. Possible spoilers, boys. Be careful. I called this thing's gonna be in this spot because this spot looks like a cantina.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh yeah.
I immediately called that and I was like, yo, I bet this is gonna be something later. They're gonna make this like a beast tribe. And then, two
Man.
patches later it was finally a beast tribe. And I was like, yes.
Yep.
Vindication.
Those yeah. If you're in Endwalker and you haven't done the tribe quests, specifically if you can do the crafting gathering one, I would recommend.
Yeah, they're really cool. All
Yep.
of them. It's yeah. Actually, I
Mhm.
think they were more interesting than the combat one. Personally,
Yeah,
I wasn't too into the.
it's okay.
It was quests.
The racing, the hippo racing. Oh, sorry, spoilers. Um, but yeah, let's see. Anything else for the week?
I don't know. I can't think of anything. Like it was pretty much focused on getting the patch stuff done. That was about all that happened,
Yep.
really.
Yeah,
And you
that
guys
patch
rated.
stuff we were rating. Man, we have like a Giga Chad rating schedule right now. At least more than we're used to, so yeah, it's definitely taken up more time than usual.
Yeah.
I see all these top groups doing like, Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday or, 3 days in the week and then the weekend and I'm like, you're doing the same, but it's T.
I mean, to be fair, I think this is very good. We're going. Uh just kind of comparing our prog with Uwu. That took us a bit well, I don't know. Maybe we'll hit another wall. But I think the first wall that we hit with Limit Cut, we're going to be climbing over that wall tonight, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna hit the sim.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean Uwu was everyone's first ultimate, so
That's true.
baby's first ultimate. So yeah, I think hopefully the next subsequent ultimates will be easier.
Mhm.
Well, maybe. They get
Maybe.
more. They're more difficult than the previous ones, but maybe the learning curve won't be quite as. It won't feel as steep, I guess, since
Yeah.
you'll have already done and gotten used
Sure.
to the flow of doing an ultimate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the ultimate intuition.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to say DSR and top though will probably be like whoa, like another
Yeah.
step up
Yeah,
from Uwu to UCub.
those definitely
Mhm.
seem on a different level.
Yeah, I think so.
So, but that's getting into like the super high end. That is not where our new players are going to be. I hope
No,
not.
oh god,
At least not right away.
no,
Unless
not
you're
right away.
like a gamer.
That's true. I mean, if you're like a super high end rating person in another MMO, perhaps, and you wanted to hop into Final Fantasy and do their end game rating, sure, I could see that. But
Mhm.
like the typical player, you're not hopping into ultimates right out of the gate.
No.
Yeah. No, that's not something. You're going to be first of all leveling
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
and going through the whole process. The usual MMO process.
What about people that have maybe played single player games their whole lives? and maybe they see MMOs and they're like, huh, that's interesting. I don't know if I want to do that though. Like, so as a whole, as a new player to an MMO, what are some things to either consider
Interesting. Yeah.
or some, what you wish you knew when you first started playing an MMO?
That's so hard for me right now because my first MMO, it's like 2010, 2009, whatever. It was a while ago. And
It was.
I had a lot of friends already playing MMOs, so I already kind of knew what was going on, and I've always played multiplayer games. So it's like, but what would, like, let's say, okay, you're coming from a single player game and you're jumping into Final Fantasy, specifically Final Fantasy right now. I guess because you can, it's weird because you can play Final Fantasy like a single player game and just not interact with the MMO side of it for a very huge chunk of the game.
That's true.
I mean, the level 50 trials, I think, is the first time where you would absolutely be forced to play with other people.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think, if you want to start playing, if you're a fan of like maybe Final Fantasy series and want to play 14, you could certainly play it sort of like the other franchises and then slowly dip your toes into like the other people aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess as a new player, and we've kind of said this before, but if you're brand new to MMOs and you don't know anything, there's a lot of helpful people. You can run into rude people in dungeons and whatnot, but if you really want to play with other people, just go for it. Give it a shot. You will more than likely run into people that will be helpful.
Yeah.
Like
90% of the time, you're gonna find good people.
At least in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I should specify that.
Yeah.
Maybe other MMOs that have been around for a while or have a very niche like group of people. I can't speak to that because it might be a little bit rougher.
Yeah, I don't know, because even when I go and play, like I've been playing ESO lately, I've talked about that a few times, and the video on YouTube has been ESO a bunch because that's just what I happen to record. But it's hard because I'm not going in as a completely new to MMO person. Like, I understand how a dungeon generally should go, and I've picked up on how ESO's flow moves, how everyone plans to do things. So I'm not starting on this absolute newbie platform of, I don't know what abilities are. Like, I'm not, I know how to do a bunch of things that I don't think a new player would do automatically.
Yeah.
Which is also just learning, I think, and just, yeah.
I think if you're brand new to an MMO, whether it's WoW, ESO, Final Fantasy, like maybe Lord of the Rings, or I don't know what is Star Wars still around? I don't even know.
It's out there. It exists.
Okay. But yeah, if you're completely new to an MMO, I would suggest finding a friend who knows the game.
I was just thinking, find someone, find an FC guild, whatever, like someone.
Or like if you got dragged into this MMO by a friend, then be like, hey, please make sure you're gonna help me.
Yeah, 100%.
But if not, if you're kind of shy, that's okay too. There's definitely online guides. And then once you're a little more comfortable, then maybe branch out and like seek other people. But really, the community aspect of it is helpful and will help you learn different things and like abilities and talent trees and points and maybe like how to make money, like all these different things, how to gear.
Mm-hmm. I would also say, because this is an interesting thing that I've seen across multiple MMOs, and just cut this out now before you even go watching guides. Don't be afraid to use abilities. This is, even I have carried this over from being a noob and holding cooldowns or what, that's 2 minutes. I don't want to use that all the time. Use it all the time. Just use your abilities. You got them. If you use it at the wrong time, you've now learned you know when to use it at the right time. Push your buttons.
Yep.
Like, don't
Oh, yeah.
hold back buttons. I know that's an easy habit to fall into early. And yeah, just mash them.
Yep. And use like the food and maybe potions you get along the way, because chances are by the time you reach max level, they're just not going to
They're
do
obsolete.
anything for you. So
Yeah.
you might as well just use them when you get them.
Yeah, don't hoard those potions.
I
This-
hoarded them.
I've
They're
done that.
taking up inventory space. I need to get rid of them. Why do I still have them?
I
never use
recently,
them.
we've been playing a couple years now, basically, between all of us, and I still have potions. I just recently cleared out in the last month because I was like, why am I holding on to this? This restores 400 health. I have 40,000. What am I doing?
So bad.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But yeah, use push your buttons, use the things you get. It'll be fine.
That's a big thing also in MMOs. Unlike in a single player game. Wow, now I'm starting to uncover the things. Generally in MMOs, whatever you get is replaceable.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, you used up your potions. I guarantee there's a place you can go get more potions. Like there's not gonna be some unique item you cannot get again if you accidentally used it or something. You can absolutely replace pretty much anything.
Mostly. I'd say towards like end game stuff there might be things that are special, but
Well, I
you're
would
leveling,
even at that point. Yeah, well, at that point, I think you'll have caught on
Yeah.
once you're towards the end game. But in the beginning, yeah, I pretty much did it.
just use it.
Just use it. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And like,
You what? What was
Sorry,
that?
no, I was just gonna say I used to save the like job gear, like the random weapons that like your job teacher would give you to like begin the actual job, because you have to have a weapon equipped to actually be that job. I used to save those because, oh god, I'm never gonna get this again. I can't, like, this is important. So I had like all this garbage gear like in my inventory or like on my retainers, and it's like, why did I save this? I never need to touch this again. And I could probably craft this item now, actually. It wasn't even like special and unique.
Well, there's even your job gear you get from the little chests.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you can delete that because there's a vendor that will just give it to you later.
Yeah.
If
Some
like,
of them you have to use like hunch seals.
Yeah.
I don't remember which like level that is, but you can still get it back. It's not gone forever.
you might have to farm a special currency, but you
Yeah.
you haven't lost it forever. It's reobtainable.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really not much. I can't think of any real risk to just using your stuff, especially while you're leveling.
Yeah.
No, I think yeah. You know what's funny? This reminded me back when I was playing WoW. There's a quest when you first started, and it gave you something called really sticky glue, and I kept them forever. And then I think they got rid of the quest,
Oh
and
no.
so I just held on to the really sticky glue forever,
No.
and you could not get that item anywhere, and it would freeze people in place.
Oh my gosh.
That's probably worth a killing
Yeah,
on the auction house.
I don't think I could sell it, but
Oh, if it was a quest item thing, yeah.
I don't think I could sell it. But yeah, I just held on to like it was like it's probably still in my inventory, so this is probably over a decade old.
Man.
Do you remember the reagents for abilities that you used to have?
Oh yeah, I definitely had like blinding powder and like all this stuff like poisons for my rogue. Oh yeah.
I remember. Well, you used to have feathers for slow fall on a mage.
Yep.
And oh gosh, I can't remember. It was like special stones for teleports for portals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I held on to those, which turned into useless ash or whatever, because they did a lore thing to get rid of them.
That's
And I held
hilarious.
on to that ash for like 2 or 3 expansions. Just taking up
Yep.
bank space for no reason, because I was, it was
Yep.
part of the game for so long.
Yep. I think I still have some blinding powder in my rogue.
But I haven't seen MMOs go that route. Like, that was definitely an old school MMO thing to have these random reagents for abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Yeah.
anyone designs the game like that anymore.
No, Final Fantasy is not like that,
Mm-mm.
thankfully. Ugh.
It was kind of a nuisance, even in like classic and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Because then you have to go out and farm for it.
Yeah, very not fun. A lot of times. I know some people enjoy it, but I just didn't really. I can see the fun of it in certain RPG contexts. I get like in Dungeons and Dragons, it's cool because now you design the fights around, man, you're only gonna have this one special spell and it's super expensive and you have to have the
Yeah.
reagents and man, oh, this is the big moment to use it. I could see that working out, but in a game like WoW or something where you're
Yeah.
expected to use it every fight over and over and over again, I
Oh
don't
my
want to
god.
farm hundreds of an item
That's
so I can
terrible.
raid.
Pain.
Oh.
It was pain. It's like, oh, I'm playing PvP. Oh, I ran out of blinding powder. I guess I can't CC this person.
Why, why is this a thing?
Yeah,
That's-
terrible. But anyway, let's
But you don't
see.
have to
So
worry
new to
about that, new players. This is
no,
all dead, gone. It's not a thing
it's
anymore unless you play a classic game.
yep. But yeah, I think as a new player, just finding a friend and then looking stuff up online.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say in any MMO, those are really good things. Even with ESO, I ran into this streamer and I just started chatting with them and asking about the game, which got me to start playing it. And then I've been able to run stuff with them, and that has made the game like 1,000% more enjoyable than
Yeah,
trying to do it alone. Just
for
because if
sure.
I even when there's things I don't understand and I'm like, because maybe there are guides out there, but some of them are out of date, and maybe this one's not very good. And it can be hard when you're new to actually
Yeah.
know if you're getting good information or not. Because even Final Fantasy, I remember there's still like outdated stuff that gets at the top of search results.
Yeah.
Like people think that Sprout falls off in Stormblood. I'm like, that's like
No.
2 expansions
No.
old. That falls off at an Endwalker. That's not. This is
Like a
old
time
news.
requirement.
But
Yeah.
that was still popping up in Shadowbringers when I started playing, and it's now an Endwalker. It still pops up when you search for that on like Google.
Oh, geez.
Because I
Yeah.
looked it up because I was like, man, what's the exact number of hours? And I looked it up and it was like, it falls off in Stormblood. No, it doesn't. Stop.
Oh
So
my.
yeah, it's always good to get find someone experienced, or even if you play with a friend though that isn't experienced and you're both just new, that can also be fun too, because at least you're just not going through it alone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of did that with 14, actually. It was very helpful in some instances. I'll probably bring up one specific example a little later when we talk about gear. But
Mm-hmm.
Um. Yeah, I think MMOs like what keeps me in an like playing an MMO like for the first time, like the story and like the system and everything that kind of draws you in, maybe the graphics that draws you in. But what keeps me in an MMO and keeps it fun and fresh for me is like people you play with because it's
yeah.
it's something like you and your friends are doing after work or on the weekend and you're hanging out and you're just like doing random stuff together and that's what keeps me in an MMO.
Yeah. Playing with friends is just way better than just running around by yourself. In my personal opinion, I wouldn't consider myself an extrovert, but even like I still need to hang out with people or like interact, and I think MMOs bring a really unique opportunity for me because I don't have to like go anywhere physically, which is great, but I can still interact with tons of people. And it's like these are real people like running around in the world like right now. It's just super cool and fun.
Yeah, I like that. And I think for me, I'm on the same sort of vein as Clarissa and just I'm very introverted by nature. I don't like leaving my house unless I really have to. Not a fan of huge crowds in person. Um, I'm probably on some sort of like neurodivergent spectrum of some sort. And for me, MMOs are like fine. I don't feel that stress of like, oh, trying to read someone's body language in a social
Yeah.
event or like, how do they perceive me or anything like that. It's just us talking in Discord, hanging out, running around like Eorzea, and it's fine. And
Yeah.
I'm happy and I'm getting my social fill.
Mhm.
Yeah, same. It's been great. It's I do the same things. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
This is
It's
how we found each other.
this is how we found each
I
other.
mean,
We're
it's
kind of the
it
same.
definitely wasn't at the grocery store.
Oh
No,
my god.
gosh. But yeah, and actually, a fun tidbit is I met my husband through video games. It wasn't through an MMO, but it was kind of friends of friends that were all playing Overwatch together. And so we had some common friends, like, and we just started playing games together because that's all, the group was doing at the time. And then, yeah, we were like, hey, you live close by. We should meet up. And we did, and we started dating, and now we're married, and here we are.
Happy end.
The
Yep.
story's still not over
Yeah, that's true.
as
Oh
the journey
goodness, I'm
continues.
sorry.
It's a happy ending. What, it's over? Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I guess
But
if it
it's
was a Hallmark movie, that would have been where it ended.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine? Hallmark gamer movie?
Oh my
No,
god.
they're too right wing for that. It has to be the
Yeah.
city folk.
Oh
Oh,
my
right.
god.
Come on out to the country bumpkin area.
Country. Yep. Finding the meaning of not the hustle and bustle of the city and
God.
people really matter.
There was, oh my gosh, there was someone made a movie. It might have been Hallmark or whatever. One of those. There's other channels that do stuff like that. It's just the Hallmark is, Hallmark. But
Mhm.
someone made a movie where basically they made one and it was from the other person's perspective. So like,
Oh, God.
lady leaves the city to go see hometown, falls in love with the guy that sells Christmas trees, whatever, because that's actually a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I've seen it because my mom watches them all the time, and I saw that, was like, really? This is okay. Yeah, I believe it totally. This is completely something that would happen. But someone apparently made a movie of the guy she left behind in the city. And like what he had to deal with, because he was like, wait, what? You're
That's
leaving me?
hilarious.
What the hell? What?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That is
That was
hilarious.
what this poor guy was going through, because he's like looking like the villain, but really he's just doing his thing. And she's just going off. Oh yeah, no, go see your family. Go take a breather. I'll finish some things up at work. It'll be fine. We're cool. Then it's like she just never comes back.
Oof, man.
That's funny.
Holy cow.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
But anyway.
anyway, yeah, that's where going off on a bit of a tangent there.
Oh my gosh, but that's funny.
Great times.
But yeah, MMOs are definitely more of a social aspect than I thought it would be in my life. Is like I've definitely met Clarissa in real life,
Yeah.
and if Knox lived a little closer, probably would do the same.
Yeah.
No.
Alas, it's
No.
quite a distance. No. Oh my gosh, I'm so
No, yeah,
offended.
no, probably.
I'm not.
I mean, geez,
yeah.
I just drove out to go find one of the friends because he's out this way from Final Fantasy 14. We just hung out. I drove an hour to pick him up. So yeah, we probably would meet up if you guys were in
Yeah.
a remotely okay driving distance. Oh my gosh, you guys are out Midwest areas, so I'd be like
I would
Yeah.
never drive.
be like an
That's too
18,
much.
20-hour drive for me,
No, thank you.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
18 at least, probably
It's
more.
it's long. But yeah, I've definitely met up with people I've gamed with in real life and become friends with them. And so that was an aspect of MMOs I didn't expect, but here we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. I've met a few friends from gaming, like
Mhm.
in real life, but no one's ever lived nearby.
Yeah, that's usually the tricky part 'cause it's
That
just
is.
kind of like luck at that point because
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
anyone can be anywhere.
Yep.
Who lives kind of near me? Someone in our group does. Maybe I should try.
I think Mike.
Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean that's the aspect of MMOs as a new player, like finding a community, finding friends. It doesn't have to be like, oh, we're gonna be best friends, we're gonna meet up, blah blah blah. No, it doesn't have to be like that. It could
Mm-mm.
just be like, someone you hang out with in Discord or, and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe once you're their friend and vice versa, then you can hang out with like common friends, and then you just kind of grow your little group.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a big opportunity to make friends.
Yeah.
Yep,
And then it
because
just makes it more fun.
it
Yeah.
does. And as an adult in their 30s, like I ain't making friends like at Whole Foods or anything like that. Like what how am
How
I
does that
making
even work?
how do
Like,
you make
I
friends
I
with
don't
I
adults?
don't know.
how do normies make friends? Like
I
I
don't know.
don't bars. I don't know. I don't do anything.
What is a
I
bar?
game. Um.
I joke normies. I just people that don't play video games really. Like, I don't know. Even when I look it up, it's like go find people that share hobbies with you. I'm like, how would you do that?
Oh,
My hobby's video games, so I know how to do that. But how would you do I join a book club with? I don't know. Is that a thing? I
book
don't know. I
club?
don't know how people would do that after a certain point.
I don't know. How do people make friends? I don't know.
Just play MMOs, everyone.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's take away from this.
That'll fill any gaps you might have in friendship. If you don't like going to bars or I guess finding a book club.
I
I
guess
don't
that's how
know.
you could make friends. I don't know.
I
What
can't
else?
even like give
Yeah.
examples because I don't know how people do this. Man,
Yeah.
this sounds really sad.
Here we are, three introverted gamers just living our best lives.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't need
Yeah.
no stinking book club.
My Unless it's the lore book.
That's
Yeah,
oh
the
my
lore.
gosh, that's the weekly thing I should have brought up. I got my lore book and I've been reading the Final Fantasy 14 lore book. It's really good. It's really interesting. Strongly recommend. You get a free pet.
Oh, cool.
Well, not free because you bought the book.
Complimentary pet.
Complimentary. That's the better word.
Yes.
But new. So okay, so let's get a little bit on track of new player stuff for Final Fantasy 14 specifically.
Okay, specifically 14. So we moved from general MMOs. So general MMOs, find a friend, look up guides, press your buttons. Don't be afraid to just do things.
Yeah,
So
do
now
things,
we're moving.
use stuff. Yeah, get out there and do it.
Yep. And so Final Fantasy specifically. Maybe just real quick, what would be everyone's like number one thing they wish they knew when they were leveling in Final Fantasy?
I know, like, when I first picked up the game, this is my second MMO, technically, right? Because I learned from my mistakes on my first MMO, Maple Story, right out the gate. I did research and I'm like, okay, uh, when I'm making my character, I get to choose, like, what race I am. And there were like different versions. So like for Mikote, there was like the Keepers of the Moon or Seekers of the Sun, and I realized there were different attributes. I'm like, oh god, I have to make sure that I go in knowing what job I'm going to play because this race that I pick is going to implement or impact my skills, and I don't want to mess up my skills like I did in MapleStory, like my attributes. But I did research and I found out that that's not a thing. So I kind of wished that I knew that I didn't have to be as serious about little details like that for 14 as I would be for other MMOs, because like you can't really mess anything up like that in this game. You're very flexible. So that's one thing I wish I knew. I can be a bit more chill.
That's that's actually true. I hadn't even considered that because I'm so used to 14 system. But for like ESO, WoW, your race can play a huge impact on your character. Not so much from like a damage perspective, but I don't, like in WoW, you have different passives or passive abilities that can affect your PvP play massively. And you can in ESO you have certain passives that you level up that can affect your DPS in a fight, things like that, or your sustain, whatever. But Final Fantasy doesn't have that. There's effectively there's zero difference. You can play whatever you want.
Yeah.
So don't stress anything. I don't care what any guide tells you. No one talks about the stats on a Mikote versus a Hyur. No one knows.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. There might be a difference at level 1. Yeah, it's nothing. So don't even sweat it. Just play whatever looks cool, whatever you like.
And you can always Fantasia.
This is
You
true.
get a free one in the story.
Do.
So, well, yeah, I can say it. It's level 50.
Yeah.
Level 50 in the story, you will get a Fantasia for free. So if you get all the way up there and you're like, man, I really wish I had been an Aura instead, like, you'll get a free thing to change if you're just not feeling your character. So not a big deal.
Not a big deal. Let's see. What about you, Nax? Is there a number one thing that you wish you knew before you started getting higher in levels in Final Fantasy?
I don't know. Everyone's people don't like me saying it, that it's okay to skip cutscenes. I was having a rough time because there's so many cutscenes and I just want to play the game. Like, that's how I am. I just want to play it and enjoy that aspect of it, and then I'll go back and enjoy more of the story. But people kept telling me not to do that. And so I was forcing myself to watch every cutscene, and it got real bad and it was rough for me. But I feel like you can skip. You might end up really clueless later on what the heck is going on in the story, and maybe that doesn't matter to you, which is fine. I just feel like as long as you're having fun, have fun. And if something's really grating on you, just stop doing that thing. And if you're bored with the cutscenes, start skipping them for a bit, and then you can go back. There is New Story Plus. Oh man, what actually happened back there? Oh, I can go ahead and click this button and just go see it again. And you can do that. You can go back. That's what I'm doing. I'm getting more into the lore now than I didn't care when I started. I was just playing the game, doing my thing. But now I'm like slowing down. I want to know more about the lore and the world, so you can do that. It's not gone forever.
Yeah. I think what a lot of people who like get really upset when people skip cutscenes, I think they might not realize that if you force someone to do something that they're not enjoying, they're just gonna stop like altogether. And it's like, what if you just this person just gets completely frustrated with the game and they just quit? It's like that's worse than someone skipping cutscenes, in my opinion. Because, like you said, you can always just go back if you start getting interested and things start picking up for you. It's like, okay, I feel like I missed something important. Just New Game Plus it. No problem. Or, like, even look up, like, a cutscene or something, because they're, like, all over YouTube. You can find them.
Oh, yeah. I've done that before. Like, I wanted to know a cutscene without having to go back. So I just like looked it up on YouTube, and there was the cutscene. I could go review it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, there was one cutscene where something hilarious happened, and I had to go back and I found it on YouTube, and I laughed so much. It's not even a punchline. I so want to say it, but I also kind of, I don't know, because there's no context. It's just someone screams. I can say that. I can say that. That's no spoiler.
Yeah, I don't even know what he's talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah,
So
There was one cutscene. I won't even say where exactly it was, but basically someone screamed in the cutscene, just went ah, and everyone sat there staring at him. And then one of the main characters just went, "I beg your pardon." I lost it. I was laughing. It was so comically, like well timed comically, and I just thought it was hilarious. It was a hilarious little cutscene, and I will never forget it. And I looked that up. I found it on YouTube, and I watched that cutscene a few times because I thought that little bit was just so hilarious.
But
So,
yeah, I think
as someone who gets irritated with cutscenes, like there is a lot of enjoyable moments in the game, and there is a lot of good stuff in there. It's just when you're first going through and you want to progress and just do things, or maybe you really want the end game experience and you want to play with friends and that stuff. Like I understand wanting to rush around and get that done. You can go back and re-experience things. So,
yep. I'd say yeah, have fun is the number one. Is like
yeah.
if you're not having fun, then you're not gonna stick with it. And the whole point of playing these is to have fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
but also if you skip, then you have to be fair and not trash talk how confusing the story is.
Yeah, the story's terrible. Blah blah blah. Like,
Yeah.
bro.
This doesn't even make sense. Who is this guy? Well, if you watch the cutscenes earlier, you would know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was fair with it. There was a few things that I had skipped a couple of cutscenes, and then like, it just so happened I skipped some stuff that was really important later, and so I was a little bit clueless. I was like, "Oh, that was that little bit I skipped back there, wasn't it?" Fair enough.
Yeah, I definitely hit some parts in like every expansion where I'm like, I'm not gonna read every single thing here.
Yeah. I
But
am also guilty of that.
See,
you
we're
know.
all like everybody. It's because there's a lot. It's a lot.
There is so much.
It's especially as a new player, if you want to, and they're telling you, "Hey, you got to spend 200 hours on MSQ."
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it's literally
It's a
that
lot.
long. It's that bad. I guess
It's a
you
lot.
could say it's good and bad, but it's good if you're gonna only play Final Fantasy.
Yeah. I only play Final Fantasy. I play one game. People joke about that. But it's just it takes up a lot of time.
Yep,
There's so much you can do.
Yeah. Yep. I would say that.
that's probably
I
scaring
think
new players, but
It's good. Trust us.
it's really
Don't worry.
good. I really do
mean,
love it. Yeah,
if you look at it, I mean, it's what 10 years of an MMO story. So yeah, if you're a new player and you want to play through 10 years of an MMO story, then
mm-hmm.
that's what you're gonna get. And you know, it does seem like a lot, but all of this has been spaced out over the course of 10 years.
Yeah.
So something to think about when you're like, man, there's just so much. And you're like, well, you're trying to do 10 years of content
I
in
kind of
maybe a couple months.
yeah, I kind of hope that they do abridge the story a bit. Like, not necessarily skip everything, but just give new players a brief overview or a briefer overview of the story and the big points, because it is getting to a point where you're bloating the game so much that no one new is going to want to try and tackle it.
Yeah.
It's just getting too big. And I think
I
Yoshi
definitely get what you
P,
mean.
Yoshi P's kind of said that when he talked about 7.0, because he said, you know, we're getting into an interesting issue where the story is really big. This is way too much time for most new players.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much at a point of being unreasonable to expect people to play it. So he said, we're going to have to tackle that issue.
If they ever add an option to be like complete playthrough or like abridged, and then it'll just pick up maybe the main areas of the story and that's it, and not like side questing, like helping some tribe or something.
Oh. Oh, I feel bad making that reaction, but like some of the pacing issues, like each expansion, there's a part where you can feel like the pacing get kind of wonky, and those are the parts where I'm more inclined to be like, man, the button is right there. I could just skip this. Oh, it's so tempting.
Yep. So I think if they just did the main story chunks and like maybe gave players the option to do it or not, that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
I would argue easiest way, keep most of the main story chunks of each expansion going, if that makes sense, and then super abridge the patches.
Oh, like the between patch content?
Like your 0.1, 0.2, point whatever, each patch content update, and maybe zip through that stuff, because that stuff's several extra hours, like a lot of extra hours.
Yeah.
And you could effectively like squish that a bit and just, hey, this is what's going down right here. Here's the dungeon. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's, you know what? That's their problem to deal with. And I hope
problem.
they do. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I'm sure they've got people thinking about it because, like I said, Yoshi P said that he feels it's an issue, and I would agree. So I'd like the new player experience to be more approachable.
Yeah, that would be good because, if you're a new player and you're looking at like all these like quests and hours, it's a lot. And for me, I had the time because, pandemic and stuff. So I had the time to go through these stories. But if you're someone who's like, I work, Monday through Friday, gotta spend time with like my significant other, maybe have a kid, like it'd be really hard to like get through the whole story and, within like even a few months would be hard.
Yeah.
Oh, if you think about it, if you're like just a weekend gamer, Final Fantasy looks really cool. I want to play, and you can invest 5 hours every weekend. 200 hours to finish the MSQ. The math shows.
The math.
That's going to be a long time. I mean, you're looking at least 40 weeks, probably.
Yeah, that's like almost. It's like 3/4 of a year almost.
Yeah, and that's if you do nothing else. Which, by the way, actually, well, I don't know. Sujak, did you go over like your one thing you wish you had known going in?
The one thing I wish I knew going in was that you don't have to pick up every single quest.
That's what I was exactly going to. Yep.
The main story quests, like the ones that appear in like the top left bar or whatever of like what the next story quest is, that'll level you for the most part. And then the ones that pop up below it are usually your job quests or something.
Which you want to do, please do them.
Need to do.
Required.
Those will unlock abilities for you.
They're very important.
From 50 to 6, like 1 through 60, I think it unlocks abilities for you. But so I came from WoW, and I was just picking up every single quest there was, and I was like, man, these don't really give that much XP, but okay. And so I just kept doing that, and I wasn't progressing the main story. Because you want to like finish an area. That's how I did it in WoW. You just want to finish an area and then go on to the next one. Well, that was wrong in Final Fantasy. You just want to do like the main story quests. And by the time I hit the end of A Realm Reborn, I was over leveled. Like so over leveled just because like I spent so much time doing fates and side quests and not the main scenario that I was just over leveled completely. And and I couldn't even get my I got my chocobo at 50. Because it was locked behind the main story quest.
Yeah.
And so
Wait.
I get my
You were level 50.
Yeah.
pretty
but
wild.
at only level 20 in the MSQ.
No one told me. I
Oh
didn't know.
man. No, I
So
get
I
it.
was
I get it.
I didn't know. And so yeah, I had to go through the MSQ stuff. I'm like, "Oh gosh, I need to do this." And so I'm just like super over leveled for all this stuff, so I'm not even getting that much XP. And yeah, I didn't get my chocobo till really late.
That's funny.
It was pain.
I
Holy
mean, you
cow.
ran through every zone on foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was painful.
Oh.
It was really painful. Yeah,
I saw
that's
someone do
probably
that actually. They were running
No.
around. They're like, "Man, I feel like they should do something to make these later quests faster." It's like they did. If you did the MSQ, you would have it.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't.
like the final zone basically that you go into for MSQ.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of supposed to like be able to mount up
Yeah.
through there, and they were not.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. It would yeah, that's the one thing. It's just like do your main story quests. That'll give you a lot of XP. That
Mhm.
Yeah, and you don't have to stop for every fate. If don't get me wrong, if you're having fun, you're loving doing fates, stop and do your fate. I'm not telling you don't do that. Just don't feel like you have to stop and do a fate. You do not have
No.
to. You're
They're
fine.
optional.
Yeah, your quests that are labeled with the meteor thingy, looks like flames or whatever, like those are your main MSQ. Do those. Yellow quests, don't bother. Blue quests, you could probably stop and do a lot of those because sometimes it's a new
Yeah.
dungeon or it's new jobs. Just pay attention if you want the new job, pick it up.
Yep.
But the blue ones are pretty cool. They usually unlock something, so you can stop and do those when you want.
Yep.
But yeah, those yellow ones you see everywhere, you do not
Oh.
ever have to actually do those. You can, obviously, like there's a lot of side lore and area lore and there's a lot of stuff in them. It can be very interesting if you want to do it. But like you don't have to.
No. And I learned that too late.
Oh man.
I
You must have done
fortunately
a lot.
got someone to tell me to do it. Stan warned me after I was doing it. I was like, I think I was on level 3 of the MSQ or something like that, but I was level 15 or 20 because I was just like, man, it takes a while to clear all these quests out. He was like, you don't have to do those.
Yep, that was me too. And yeah, I was super over. By the time I started Heaven's Ward, I think I was like almost 60. It was ridiculous.
I'm very
Oh
thankful
my
that
goodness.
I was just like invested in progressing the story that like I fell into the trap of like picking up those just like the yellow quests. But then after all I'm like, okay, this is getting really annoying. I don't want to go like run this package over to this person across the area. No, I have better things to do. So I just stopped picking them up. uh,
Yep. So I think that's the sort of main thing for a new player in Final Fantasy is like your main story quests will unlock a lot of things for you and level you just fine.
Yeah, and a lot of the content, unlike other MMOs, this is something that I had to wrap my head around, is you are MSQ locked. So in WoW, as soon as you hit level, 30 or 20, actually, I think, yeah, 20, you can just go get a mount. But in Final Fantasy, you are MSQ locked. You have to get to a certain point in the MSQ to get that mount, as Sujek revealed. And flying later, all MSQ locked. You have to get to certain stages
yeah.
or you will not fly. So like just do the
Do your
MSQ. Dungeons are locked behind it, and getting to the next expansion. That's like in World of Warcraft and other games, usually you are not limited. As soon as you're all, leveled up, you want to go to the next zone? Cool, go for it. Off you go.
Wow.
But they don't do that in Final Fantasy. You just do the MSQ. It's very important. It unlocks new areas. It unlocks new features and stuff. Like it's very important to do it from that perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
Because out leveling it doesn't really help you. It's just
No. It doesn't, because the content's pretty like the battle content that you encounter in main scenario quests it's not too bad. It's not super difficult in which you have to like level grind to be above it in order not to die. It's nothing like that. So yeah,
I definitely think they did a good job making it doable at the level.
Yeah.
They didn't want to make it a super hard challenge and annoy people with it. It's generally pretty doable.
Yep. Yep. Let's see. What are some other things we want to touch
Well,
on?
I
So we
guess
touched on questing.
it kind of ties into that, but there is this one weird spot I'd like to talk about, which is in Realm Reborn. And it's, I want to say 46, 47-ish. You run into this weird point where the MSQ quests just suddenly dry up. And you get like 2 quests. But then you're supposed to be level 49, but you're still 47. And like there's just this weird disconnect if you've been doing it right. If you did it and like you out leveled it, you won't even notice this. But
Yeah.
because I noticed it hard on my alts.
That's where
Yeah,
I noticed
I
it, because
noticed
my
it on
main,
my ults.
I was over leveled as well because I was running duty roulette like every day with some friends.
I actually,
That's what excited me. I'm like, oh, let's run a dungeon.
yeah, I wasn't doing
But
those oddly. Even though that was what I liked, I also noticed I was leveling fine, so I just ignored it and just kept doing MSQ because I was like, I want to push forward. This seems the
yeah,
most effective way to do it. I'm going to do that. And yeah, even on my first time, I did end up in this really awkward, like, I guess I can't do the MSQ. What do I do now? Just kind of looked around me like, yeah, here I am. So yeah, there is this weird lull right there, and honestly, the easiest way is to run a leveling roulette or two. Well, not two, because
you don't get the bonuses
yeah,
twice.
you only get the
in a day.
bonus once a day. So you run a leveling roulette, and then if that was it, maybe run another dungeon or go do some of those side quests or something. Just get yourself that extra level. And yeah, but there is this really awkward stage. You haven't done anything wrong. They it's just a really weird spot. It's the only time in the whole game it happens. And I don't know why. It's just
Yeah,
It's
but if you ever find yourself like under leveled, just do leveling roulette or like a dungeon at your level.
yeah, usually the highest level dungeon you can run and you'll be okay. And then gearing right there, because that's when you finally run into minimum item level.
Oh yeah.
And that okay, for me personally, I was like, I need item level. What the heck? Where do I get better items? I'll go to the auction board or the market board. And yep.
I almost did that.
Yeah, I spent way too much on gear, because a little pro tip, the vendors in Final Fantasy will actually sell you useful gear.
Yep. And all of the expansions.
Yes, so every expansion in the main city, there's going to be some vendors that will actually sell you level relevant gear. It's not like amazing gear, but it will get you through what you need to get through. Realm Reborn, it's still a little awkward. Because for some reason the jewelry just stops at like level 26. I don't know why. I've looked around on alts, on my main. I've been trying to find a vendor in a Realm Reborn that will actually sell you decent jewelry. I haven't found them. If someone listens to this, maybe they know someone. I can't find them. But I know Clarissa here found her own little jewelry provider.
Yeah, so I was running MSQ and I was all excited and I'm like, oh, I'm about to run this dungeon thing. I think it's a duty now. It's different now. But I couldn't run it. I'm like, hey, what does this mean? That I don't have item level. And I examined my gear and my jewelry was just horrendous. So I actually had one of my friends craft me some gear, because he was a goldsmith at the time, had been playing while before me. So I was lucky to have some friends kind of like walking me through some stuff. I did do a lot of MSQ just on my own because I was eager to catch up and like see what the story was about. But I was lucky and got some free jewelry from one of my friends. And was
Yep.
good to
I
go.
would say at this point you're supposed to be level 50
Yeah.
at that stage when you run into that item level thing that you got to do. Easiest way to get the item level is to do your job quest. Your job quest gives you really good gear for that level.
True.
So definitely go
Also,
do that.
the item coffers that you get, you have to open them. When you open them, the gear falls out. I didn't realize that's what those coffers were for a very long time. So, I I had item level issues because I didn't open that level 50 job uh coffer. So I was using kind of like the cheaper stuff that didn't have as high item level, and that was a little awkward when I figured out that, oh, there's actually gear inside of these. I have to open them.
Yeah. Oh, and for the coffers, make sure you're on the job you want the gear for,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and just use them. Cause I
please.
I didn't use them because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna level another job. But at that point, you have access to tombstones
Yep.
and stuff. So just use the coffers when you get them. Just use them.
Yeah,
You know.
I saved them, and to this
It
day, I still have like garbage
Oh
stuff
my
that
gosh.
would not benefit me now. Um, and it's just taking up space. I was really bad with the hoarding. Like, oh, this item, I don't want to use it right now because I might want to use it later. Please just use it.
just use it. Just use it.
The only time I've ever saved those, just give you an idea, any listener out there whom you do not need to save these. I only saved some of them sometimes because I was on a recent alt I have. I'm simultaneously leveling 4 jobs because it has double XP. Well, it's technically 3 jobs because one's Arcanist, so it's 3
Yeah.
jobs. But so I'll save the coffers because I'm like, oh, I've already got a good weapon on this one. I'll save the coffer for that one when I get it to this level, so I can
Yeah.
open it on that one. But that's it. That's the only situation where you might want to save them. Otherwise, nah, just pop it and get rid of it. Whatever. It doesn't. You really don't need it. You can just go
No.
to a vendor and find something.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's
Yeah. And
pretty
I would
straightforward.
say if you're tanking or healing, I mean DPS too, but try and make sure like to keep your gear at pace. Because if you're tanking something at your level and you're like, quite a few item levels behind, you're just gonna get demolished.
Yeah.
Well, I also
I was
think
actually
like keep that in mind with your gear. And I think a lot of actually veteran players don't like keep this in mind, is that a newer player, just even if you're level 42 and you're actual level 42, the best you're gonna get is white gear from the vendors and stuff. Or maybe some green
which
gear
isn't
from a previous dungeon.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's not great. It's because we're gonna be running around in blues and purples and everything that while scaled down, they're at the maximum stats available at the time. So
Yeah.
you're way ahead of anyone that's actually in accurate gear for the time. So
Yep.
doing smaller pulls is definitely a thing. Like,
No shame in that.
yeah,
Nope. Shame.
we've had to do it. If we got low end gear and we know it, well, all right, well, just back off on the pulls a little bit. But even with our experience, we also know exactly where there's certain points of, hey, there's a certain dungeon where some icicle dudes pop up and they're gonna blast you. Okay, take it easy.
Boy.
You'll know when you know.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
See, everybody knows.
We all know.
We've all experienced that pain.
Had a
Yep.
traumatic
and,
experience with
yep.
those icicles.
So if you're not geared, those are gonna smack you, and it's gonna be a rough time. But you learn that, and you just you pull a little bit slower, and then okay, I know I'm safer over here, and there you go, you're back off to the races. It's just
Yep.
it's all doable and winnable.
Yeah.
Just
And I think as if you're a sprout going into a dungeon, even though you have the sprout icon, people might assume you might be an alt or something, but if you say like, "Hi, it's my first time here," then I think people will be much more understanding of like maybe pacing or like whatever, maybe healing if you're doing that, and they'll be more understanding and maybe explain some mechs to you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll see people with sprout icons and be like, "Well, that's an alt."
we don't even need the words.
Yeah.
We just see. We know no sprout's gonna pop sprint, run in there, start tanking, and immediately pull 3 packs. We know that's not
Yeah.
my guy.
We
We're
know
on
the
to you.
sign.
I have
Yep.
Savage tier clears on an alt healer, and it still has the sprout icon.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
When I queue for stuff, everybody knows that's not a sprout.
Yeah. But
So,
yeah, if you just say in chat like, "Hey, it's my first time," everyone will be like, I've
Patient.
never really come across anybody being like, "I'm not waiting," or this is terrible. They'll usually be
Yeah.
patient. They'll wait for your cutscenes. They'll like, and it'll be fine. And you don't have to stress. And even if you do make a mistake, or like maybe like you're healing and someone dies, like it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine.
No need to flog yourself. People will not yell at you.
No.
yeah,
It
I've
just
been
happens.
running with the streamer guy. I keep bringing it up because I've had so much experience with newer players because of this. And we were running one of the hard trials that you have to run later. And we wiped twice because I ended up in a group with actually just a bunch of sprouts, a bunch of new players, and we were wiping. And I could tell there was a couple of us that were experienced and knew what was going on. No one got mad. There was no irritation. It was just, geez. Well, we go again. We went again. No one was mad. It was just people were learning. They were, the newer players that I could hear, they were laughing, having a good time. But there was also a bit of stress from them. Like, oh no, I probably just irritated everyone. I got knocked off the map. And I'm like, everyone's been knocked off the map. Okay, everybody's gotten yeeted at some point by one of those things. Some of us still do in other contexts.
Oh yes.
It's
Yeah.
we're no one's getting ticked off. You're newer, we know it. It's fine. Just we're
there.
playing the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's okay to make mistakes.
That's how you learn. And
Yeah.
You can laugh about it later. Like I often do. I laugh at so many of my past mistakes. Because I've grown wiser, and it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, I think about it on one of the fights where the you don't get yeeted, but you fall off.
Yeah.
I'm not giving it away because every new player deserves to go through it.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm pretty sure at one point, my friend told me to stand on it just to make sure that I went off, because I was like, oh wait, this looks like this. And he's like, oh no, you got to stand on this one. Okay. Bye.
That's fun.
Rite of passage.
Yeah, rite of passage.
It is. It's very much a rite of passage.
Yep. Oh gosh.
And it was so much fun. I sometimes talking about new player experiences, I kind of wish I could go back and re-experience it a bit with the new player, feeling.
Yeah.
The best I can get to that is when there's like a patch, I try to get in there right away to like new battle content, so like new alliance raids and stuff. That's when I get that feeling.
I do
again.
have
No one knows what's going on.
I'm so much fun blind progging all of that stuff, just because Like, you're gonna get through it pretty quick, even with randoms. They don't make it too difficult.
No.
But it is so much fun just blindly going in there and not knowing what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
That one of the newer dungeons, it can give you doom stacks on one of the bosses.
Oh.
Yeah, that
Oh,
one.
yes.
I was healing that.
Oh.
And we had 4 doom stacks like 3 times in a row. We were up to 6 bone stacks a pop. It was I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how we didn't die.
Oh my
We
gosh.
survived, but oh my gosh, it was a battle.
Yep. Oh man.
But that's so much fun. That's the fun you have to look forward to as a new player.
Mhm.
It is. It is a lot of fun. So yeah, I think what's the other? Oh, so
Oh,
there's
go
a
ahead.
joke about no, there's this thing that people will say the true end game in Final Fantasy is glamour
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
and like how to do that. So I didn't know how to do that at all. It's not very intuitive in the
No.
game. So in order,
Mhm.
so glamour, what it is, if you know, like WoW, transmogging, putting a look on top of your gear so it looks like something else. That's what glamour is. And so for glamour, I think at like level 30-ish, you can
Yeah,
do it,
probably.
15.
and you have 15. Wow.
The
Nice.
quest is gettable and unlockable, whatever, at level 15.
Wow. So that quest is in a very frequently visited starting zone area.
Prey return.
You won't miss it.
Prey return. And it's a blue quest. You pick it up,
Yes.
and you'll unlock the ability to use like your glamour dresser, which is where you store the things you want to like glam into, like what you want to look like. So that your glamour dresser is where you store the things you want to like put that on your gear. And you need glamour prisms. And glamour prisms you can either get from the market board, you can craft them, or you can get them from like Grand Company seals. And you need 1 glamour prism for every time you just put something in your glamour dresser, or if you have something in your inventory, you can slap it on your current gear with a glamour prism as well. And that is a true end game of Final Fantasy.
Definitely
Mhm.
pick up that quest because I know when I first was playing, I'm like, I don't really care. I'm here for stats. I'm here for stats. I don't care what I look like. But
Mhm.
you're gonna care what you look like when you start getting with this gear.
Yep.
Specifically tanks. There's this one
Oh gosh.
armor set that just
You look like a garbage can.
yeah,
I love them.
you'll know it. You'll know it when you see it.
It's so good.
interesting.
There is, that's another rite of passage. You are gonna look fugly. Like, your leveling process until basically you get your job gear. That's the first time you don't look like a doofus.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's so true.
but a good, I guess, pro tip is using, like, if you want glamour prism, I have hundreds of prisms now, and I just used company seals from your Grand Company, because there's a little pro tip later on: level up your Grand Company. And I can't
Yeah.
remember what exact level I think it's like 2nd lieutenant or something. Don't quote me. I don't remember exactly, but you get to a certain point where you level up and you can take extra gear that you get and trade it to your Grand Company for seals.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it like turns into infinite seals, basically.
Yeah.
You can get so much. And I mean, I'm even talking, you can go in like solo lower level dungeons just to quickly get tons of gear just to trade into them for seals. And you can just have an overwhelming number of the prisms and stuff because they sell it from there. And I mean, there's other stuff you can do with your company seals, of course, but it's definitely a thing that you want to level, and you can use it later to easily just have tons of prisms and glam all you want. Because I didn't care about fashion. My character was ugly, and I was screenshotting it, and I'm like, lol, I look like an idiot. Didn't care. I in WoW, I did not transmog. I maybe did it twice, and I said I don't like this, and I didn't care.
Oh.
And then Final Fantasy, I actually have done fashion crap. I've actually sat there and like made some glam plates and dressed up my character and stuff. And I'm like, man, it's actually a fun system.
It is.
And so say you're like a new player and you want to make a glam that you just want to stick with, and you're replacing gear pretty quick because you're leveling and stuff. So what you can do is in your glamour dresser, you can access something called glamour plates, and you can make a whole outfit and then save it, and then you can link that plate to a gear set. And so whatever you have equipped for that gear set will be that glamour plate. You just have to update it. And yeah, it seems a little complicated. There probably are like a million guides out there on like how to do glamour. So just take a look at that, but it is accessible at level 15. And so you don't have to look like, a brown potato sack leveling all the time.
It is kind of funny though. I do appreciate some of the looks you get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their looks are right. But yeah, if you want to do that, glamour is not locked for you until endgame. You can get it throughout the whole thing.
Right at level 15 when you do that quest.
Yep. Let's see.
I think another big thing to touch on real quick, just being in this area, because we've gone over a bunch of the things around this thing. Your job stone. This is a quick one. It's easy, but oh my gosh. Level 30, you get your job. Now, to be fair, when you first start, and I think this could be a little issue with some people, is because it's very easy to outlevel the MSQ. Your job stone and all of that is MSQ locked.
It is.
So you could end up like level 30 is when you're supposed to get the job stone, but that quest will not unlock for you until you've gotten to like level 30 or something. Or is it level 20? I don't remember. You have to get to a certain point in the MSQ, and then your job stone quest will unlock. But once you get that job stone, equip it. Oh my gosh. Equip it.
You get more abilities.
And you become much better, more powerful. Please don't show up to a level 30 dungeon as a gladiator.
No. People will be like raising their brow like, huh?
I've actually seen it because it can happen because of like there's some dungeons that are side dungeons where if you've out leveled, you can unlock them.
Yeah.
And you can go into them not being a job and you're still your base class because you just don't have the stone yet.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But you're in a higher level dungeon. And it's like, bro, please go back and finish MSQ a little bit. Please get your job stone. It does help so much because you do get more abilities and stuff.
Yep. It's huge. And yeah, I usually give some grace between 30 and 40. If
30 to 40.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, or whatever. But if you're doing like the end content of a Realm Reborn without a job stone, oh, you looking sus.
You know what? That actually could be really funny. Not to subject other people to this, don't get me wrong. But if we got a group together and tried to do like just an expert roulette or something without job stones, like I think that could be
really fun. Oh my gosh!
I think that would be really cool.
Is that what we
try that at some
record for this podcast?
Oh gosh.
That would be so funny.
Sharing the pain at some point.
Yeah. That'd be funny.
Yeah, that could be. That might be something to do for next week.
Yeah.
Just try to do dungeons without our job stones.
Oh god.
I wish I remember what duty I was in. I was in something, and the person they queued in as like they didn't have their job stone equipped, and immediately they were like, "Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to do this." And like I was confused. I'm like, why is this person apologizing so much? And then I looked and I realized that they weren't like a typical job. They were like a rogue or something instead of a ninja. And I'm like, oh, something happened. I felt bad. They ended up just leaving because they were just so stressed out about the mistake, I guess. But it can happen. Be careful. Make sure when you equip your Jobstone, save that gear set.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you change gear sets or something, and you go back to, oh yeah, I was a ninja last time I was on this gear set, but I forgot to save it. So you don't end up going back to that gear set and being like a level 50 rogue or something.
Yeah.
Be careful out there.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. I think it's probably the early jobs that have job rate, because well, I guess all jobs have a Jobstone.
Yeah,
But
every job
not
does, yeah.
but not all of them like sort of have that progression. Like Samurai, Dancer, Red Mage, you just get your job, like Reaper, Sage, you just get your Jobstone out of the gate.
Yeah, there's no base class to those.
No.
Right.
But for like Arcanist, Conjurer, Rogue, Gladiator,
Marauder.
Archer,
Or
those
Lancer, yeah.
yep, those have to progress once you
Yeah.
hit like 30 to get your Jobstone.
And your
Yeah.
hotbar will reset. It's annoying.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one. It does annoyingly reset it.
Yeah. Luckily, you don't have that many abilities yet.
No.
Yeah, it's usually not terrible. It's just kind of like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Minor inconvenience.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely Jobstones are important.
What's some other quick little roundup ones here? Housing, I guess? A little bit on housing.
Yeah. I think to buy a house, if you're interested in like maybe putting your hat in the lottery for a house, the requirements are you have to be at least a second lieutenant in your grand company and level 50, or like completed, I think, the main scenario of A Realm Reborn or something like that. And then you can buy, you can have an FC room, you can have an apartment, you can put a bid in for a house. But it is a little bit more than just like level 30 or something.
For which part?
guess
Sorry.
for housing.
Yeah, I double checked. You do have to be like 50 and second lieutenant for any housing.
Yep.
And that includes FC rooms, which I thought wasn't the case, but apparently it is.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't remember that. Oh,
Yeah.
well.
So we keep talking about grand companies. So there's 3 factions essentially to choose from. There's really no
Oh yeah.
there like you can choose whatever you want. You don't have to like there's no benefit in choosing one or the other. I think most people might pick the Maelstrom just because it's based in Lominsa, which is like sort of the main city. But if you like the aesthetics of like maybe Ul'dah or Gridania, then you can pick the other grand companies as well. But choosing one over the other doesn't have any effect on like benefits, disadvantages to you. And so when you hit the main scenario quest that you have to choose, it really doesn't matter.
No.
And then to progress in your grand company, you have to talk to like the promotion person or whatever, and it'll probably be grand company seals, and you could do your hunt log, dungeons, fates to get grand company seals.
Yep. Or you can sell gear or trade in gear when you can. I don't remember exactly when you can start doing that.
It's like in the second tier.
Yeah, it's a little bit higher. So the first few tiers, you're definitely gonna have to do like your hunt logs and like the side dungeons, I think, to get through your hunt log.
Yep.
So hunt log is just when you have to like go and kill a certain mob and like 2 or 3 of them.
And honestly, leveling it up, it's super easy if you get to the end of the level 50 MSQ stuff. And then you can go back and just easily do a bunch of it. You don't
Yeah,
have to. That's
when
not how you have to do it. If you want to do it while you're leveling, perfectly fine. It's, it is useful, so go for it. It's just
Yep.
if you want to do it easy mode, like, because you can even solo. One of the low level side dungeons I know is popular in the hunt logs.
Yep.
You can literally solo that at level 50. So you don't even have to wait for a group.
And if you're in the like open world and you see something that has like a little target marker with like an arrow above its head, that's a hunt log entry.
I thought it was like
Yeah,
a
I
little
get it.
3 mark thingy.
Yeah, it's like a bullseye kind of looking thing with
Is
an
it?
You'll
arrow.
notice it. It looks different
Yeah, you'll
than
know.
like
Yeah,
what you
it's
typically see it.
it's a very clear. What's that mark? Probably a hunt.
I think it
Um,
I think it actually looks like the hunt like icon with a little is it a mandragora actually? You guys probably don't know what that meant, but
No,
just look for a weird looking icon. You'll notice.
yeah, it's. I
it's
might be
above their
thinking of a
head.
different hunt thingy.
It's yellow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll see it. Yeah, just pretty
If
much
it's
know
above
that.
a
I
mob's
see.
head, then yeah, that's a hunt log entry. And if you kill it, then you'll probably get some. If you kill the required amount of those, you'll probably get your Grand Company seals for that hunt entry.
Oh, and if you're not
Mhm.
sure what it is, just pay attention to your chat log. When you kill it, it'll update like, oh, you've killed one of 3 of this hunt log
Yeah.
thing, and like it'll tell you what it is.
Yep. And so yeah, Grand Companies are important. It doesn't matter which one you choose though. But why Limsa Lominsa is like the general place people hang out is from the main Aetheryte to the market board is pretty quick.
Yeah, it's convenient.
It's very convenient,
Quite.
so that's why people chose it
It's
usually.
it's the only one where you don't have to switch zones.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
don't.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Yep. So that's why I think Limsa is probably the main place for people to be. And people just AFK in Limsa, and it's usually some sort of like people watching scene.
Yeah.
Lots of hanging out. Lots of hanging out in
There's a
Limsa.
lot of hanging out in Limsa. Oh gosh. Oh, let's see.
I guess speaking of symbols above things' heads,
Oh,
the icons on players real quick. You've got your mentors.
yep.
So you got your
Those
little
are
Burger King crowns.
Yep.
And then there's a difference because there is the hammer one, which is a crafting mentor, the
Mhm.
sword one, which is a combat mentor,
Yeah.
and then there's just the straight up crown, which means they have both.
Yeah.
You
And
get
then you
to
might see a rare one that is a little crown and a flag. That's a PvP mentor. I don't see those very
what?
often.
Gosh, I
I
forgot those existed.
don't
I knew
even
they
think.
did, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
You
That's
never see those.
No.
mm,
Now I just want to go get one. I want to go
Yeah.
become
Oh
a
my
PvP
gosh.
mentor just to be that one guy.
You have to be a battle mentor, and then you can just apparently, if you're a battle mentor, you know PvP. I know you don't. I'm a battle mentor, but I don't know PvP like that well. Like, please, they should be separate. But
Oh gosh.
The AFK, that's the little chair.
Yeah, I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
I was like, what are these chairs? What? It's
Yep.
AFK.
Let's see. There's the disconnect symbol, which is
So we call it a Pokeball.
yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like a Pokeball.
Yeah, that pretty much. Yeah, you see someone with a little Pokeball, that means they're disconnecting. So,
Yep.
sprouts, every new player should know what a sprout is. It's you. It's the little sprout thing
Green.
growing, little tiny
Oh,
guy.
so if you see a flower, sort of sprout-ish looking icon, it's a returning player.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a sprout, probably, right?
No,
No.
not necessarily. It's if you haven't
True.
logged in for 45 days,
You get the
you get the returning player. So
Yeah.
sprout or
Yeah.
not, which is a bit
Okay.
weird because I would think genuine sprouts can get the returning player thing.
They can.
Yep.
And I think, no, we should leave them with sprout status.
Yeah.
Because returning player kind of gives this idea that, oh, no, they've been here before. They're just coming back. No. Not always.
No,
Like, they could be
not always.
sprouts with a returning player. So they're double, like,
Yeah,
not quite up to par, maybe, or not familiar with content, I should say.
that's the flower.
Yeah, the flower returning.
Let's see.
The little flag, I thought it was a P for a while, like a weird stylized P, but it's a flag. That just means someone's in the party.
Yeah.
That's all that is. Nothing
Yep.
special. There's the
If you see
RP
someone-
one, which is role
Oh, yeah.
play.
Yep.
Don't
you
see
can
that
flag
one too
yourself.
often.
If
The do
you
not
see someone-
disturb. Sorry.
Oh, I was to say, if you see someone with like, it looks like 3 little heads, that means they have something up in Party Finder.
Yes.
So they're like recruiting party members for something.
Mm-hmm.
Which could be handy to watch out for if you're, say, doing a world activity, like maybe fate farming or hunt trains or whatever. That means if you spot them, they might be recruiting for what you're doing if they're in the
Yep.
same
Yep.
area. So something to watch out for. And then you could message them because they're recruiting. So you could ask, hey, what are you recruiting? Or you can go check the Party Finder menu and just.
I think if you can right click on them
Oh, yeah.
if you're on PC, and then just click View Party Finder, and it'll take you to their Party Finder in the Party Finder menu, and
Yep.
you can see what they're recruiting for. Granted, you can see it, so like you've unlocked that duty that they're recruiting for, if it is a duty at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Something I was confused on. I want to jump to. Okay, unless you guys have other icons. I think we hit all the.
Oh, what were you? You were gonna say one of them.
There was one I thought that was like a do not disturb. It looks like a sad face
Oh,
or something. Not
busy.
sad, or
busy.
busy. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a. I can't tell what the face is. To be honest, I'm terrible
It-
at what it looks like.
Yeah, it's like a red, sort of sad-looking face.
With like
Yeah.
some sweat. I don't know.
Yeah,
I-
something. Yeah,
He
it's
looks
I don't know.
upset and sweaty.
open to interpretation as to what the heck is
Yeah.
going on with that symbol, but it's
Yeah.
it's a. That's a busy player, so that I don't know. You rarely see it, but it's usually someone crafting.
I usually see it, or I used to see it back in the days of placard clicking, because
Yep.
people would, like, I've heard of people like trying to grief people by sending tells, and I guess that would be really annoying. So
Well, I
like, if
think
you don't
party
want to receive,
invites, wouldn't that?
oh,
Yep.
party invites,
It's lots of
yeah, that
party
would,
invites
yeah,
and-
that would be annoying.
messages, I think, too.
Yep.
Right?
Mm.
Yeah.
So if you have busy on, just remember that you can't accept party invites. So like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're waiting for someone to send an invite, make sure you don't have that on.
And
that's
then, well, a quick one. This one's real quick. Your inventory and stuff with specifically retainers. Retainers are simple. Go get one when you can. I think it's level
Please.
20 once you've selected your grand company, I believe. Something like it's about
Yeah.
that time frame. Once you're told you can go get a retainer, just go get one. It's basically a bank. You make another little character and you can summon them in towns at the summoning bell. And it's a bank space. It's just extra space. Just think of it as a bank. And
Yep.
yeah, that's just
Inventory.
right away. If you're having inventory issues, it happens. You know, we're all hoarders here. There's retainers are basically banks, so just go get one. They're free. They're not like anything special. They are. They're banks, but yeah. Don't shy away from doing that. I didn't know what that was. I thought it was like a whole new thing. I have to hire a retainer. I'm gonna have to manage that. Not really. It's a bank.
Yep.
Go use it. There's other things you can do with it, but you can figure that out as you go. It's not a big deal. They're just literally super side content, primary use, extra space.
Oh, and the other thing is you can give your retainer a job, and then they can go out and do things for you, which is really helpful in
Mhm.
order to make skill or level your crafting and gathering.
Mhm.
so your retainer can be a combat job or like a crafter, gatherer, fisher. If you choose, or no, it can't be a crafter. Sorry, it can be a gatherer or combat job. So if you choose a gatherer, either a botanist, a miner, or a fisher, the caveat is your retainer can only get the things you've already gotten. So you can't expect them to bring back things you've never actually gathered yourself. And then combat jobs will just, you can send them on explorations or gather some materials that might drop from like mobs. And so it's really helpful to level and sell, make gil, and that's with ventures. And venture coins you can get through leaves or grand companies from
I'd
seals.
buy them by the hundreds with seals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I use grand company seals and send my retainers out to get things, and I sell them or craft with that, and it's really helpful. So retainers are so huge for like inventory and like making gil and leveling, like crafting stuff.
Yeah, super easy passive income. Definitely, please do that because it definitely adds up over time. Like you don't want to be in a situation where you don't have as much skill as you'd like to get something as like get further in the game, and it's like, oh, I really want this shirt for glam or something, or like maybe I'm thinking about buying a house, but I don't have enough money, so like definitely start saving early.
Even if you don't engage with it hard, like they come back with silver coins all the time to sell at a vendor.
Yeah.
That alone, it's just passive money just coming in every time you log in, basically. So
Yep.
It adds up over time.
It really does. Oh, well, I wanted to touch on like your skills and limit break.
Oh yeah.
So like your skills you'll get over time. You can move your skills around. You can change your keybinds or your input on your controller, which way you want that set up. And your skills, there's two ways you can see skills, like just a plain old list, or you can select another one that'll show you kind of a tree of like how the combos would work, like a 1, 2, 3 combo. Because some of the combos you get more potency if you do it in a certain order. And so you want to follow that order to get the most damage out of it. And so in your abilities, you can see the tree where, oh, this is a combo. So it's really helpful as you level just to kind of read your tooltips, see what combos there are. You can look online too for like how is the opener for level 50 or whatever. But limit break is in your general abilities tab. So I think on keyboard and mouse you hit P.
Yeah.
And that'll open up your abilities. And if you go to the general tab, you can find limit break. In limit break, you accrue limit gauge over a course of a fight if you're in at least a light party, which is 4 people. And each job sort of has a different limit break. And tanks will be like damage mitigation, healers will be healing. In DPS, melee will do like a single target, like big damage. Range will do sort of more of an AoE type damage. But I guess in dungeons it's better just to use it than not at all, I suppose. So don't.
Yeah, I guess one thing to keep an eye on is, well, if you're DPS, Fizz ranged will do a straight line attack, and casters will do a circle.
Yeah.
Which doesn't like, oh, well, that's not a big difference. It kind of is, because the most effective time to use those is during AoE. So if there's a bunch of stuff, like typically, I know in later dungeons, because it depends on the gauge, how much you have. It's kind of weird, but just know that a really good time is to use the AoE, a caster, or the Fizz ranged LB on like a late pull in the dungeon of the mobs, not on the boss. Everybody thinks use the melee DPS on the boss, but usually in dungeons you actually get more damage out of using any of the ranged LBs on large packs because there's just so much stuff that you can pull, and then you just nuke it with the LB.
You know, a lot of the times, like, huge pulls are more dangerous than bosses.
Yeah.
So definitely kill those as fast as you can, and by using like a ranged LB, that helps immensely.
And
Yep.
and someone might get mad because, like I said, some people get just really obsessed with the melee LB for some reason. But in most dungeons, it just pop it. It doesn't. It's not gonna. We've gone entire dungeons without ever even touching the button.
And then it's
that-
just wasted.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you're gonna finish. It's gonna be fine. Like it's not the end of the world. It's just you probably did it less efficiently than you could have. And that's about it. It's not a deal breaker because no one used the LB gauge. There is one fight where you will need it, but that's like a later thing, and I'm not gonna give away things.
If you're a deep or if you're a tank or healer, probably don't use the LB on cooldown though.
There's if you're tank or healer, you pretty much never touch it in
Yeah.
a normal dungeon.
There are certain situations, usually not even in dungeons, that would require that. You'll see that in
Trials?
other trials, certain situations. Healer LB3, that is useful if like you're a healer and like your party's dead. You can you can raise them with healer LB3 instead of having to like manually raise them one by one. Raise action or skill. So that's usually people will probably be saying in chat, healer LB3.
Yeah, there's usually a big call for the healer LB3. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as a healer, I think, if you're running a trial or a raid or something, and there's like maybe like at least 3 people dead, and you're like, just use it. It's fine.
Yeah. Save yourself the trouble.
Yep.
People will understand. They
Yeah.
won't care. They'll be thankful. Like, okay, this is fine. We're
'Cause
saved.
in the MSQ stuff, there's no DPS check. Okay, I shouldn't. I'm not gonna say there's no DPS check that can't be met without the LB. In
Yeah.
MSQ stuff, in extremes and whatnot, if you're min eye level, you could run into situations where you're really gonna need that LB. In different prog situations, but generally, main story, no, it's you don't absolutely need that LB for damage. You'll be fine
No.
to use it to recover the party if you need it.
Yep.
And
Don't be afraid to press the limit break.
Yeah. There's most situations, like if you're running with a group that like you guys can communicate when you want to use it if there's special instances of that you want to save it for or something, but otherwise,
Yeah.
most of it's pretty fine.
Yeah. Let's see. Any last new player tips that we have?
I don't know. I can't. I guess raising is a different thing from a lot of MMOs in Final Fantasy.
That's
Now that I'm
true.
thinking about it with the healer LB3, because you can get raised in Final Fantasy in combat. Usually the healers need swift cast because it is a very long cast. Swift cast makes the cast
Like 8
instance.
seconds.
Yeah, it's like an 8-second cast timer, which is insane to sit and cast.
Yeah.
But the healers do have a swift cast button, and a couple of other classes can res at certain points, like eventually. But healers have a minute cooldown swift cast, so they can instantly res someone. So, a couple people dying is recoverable always, because the healers can get them up. You will get a debuff. You will lose 25% of your primary stat. So, your melee DPS, you probably lose strength or whatever.
We should talk about transcendence.
Oh god, yes. Oh, transcendence is so important. So when you get raised, you'll have this little buff on you that it says transcendence if you examine it. But that basically makes you invulnerable to most types of damage that's going out. So do your healers a favor and don't press any of your skills, including sprint, or else Transcendence will fall off. It's I think a 5-second buff that you have. So you have 5 seconds for your healers to kind of get their bearings and heal you up.
Yep.
I mean, you
There's some
can move.
cases where
Yeah,
You
you
can-
can move, just don't
Yeah,
press
but just
sprint.
don't. Yeah.
spread or any abilities.
Yeah.
There are some instances like with if it's like a knockback thing, you won't
Yeah.
be immune, or there's
It'll
some rare
knock you back.
there's some rare occasions that Transcendence won't save you, but probably like 95% of the time, just let their Transcendence buff ride and get healed.
Yeah.
Don't press anything.
You can even, because I've done it, when you're experienced, you'll be able to do it better, but just intentionally stand in something because you have the Transcendence buff. So, like, if you know that the next mechanic is you're going to have to move over this way anyway, just stand in something because you're invincible anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Just take the invincibility shot, you're fine, and just be ready for the next thing. Like,
Yep. And then if it wears off and you haven't gotten heals, maybe pop like, Bloodbath, Second Wind, or something.
Try to save yourself at that point.
Yep. But just, definitely, it's like a yellow person icon. Kind of, right? Doesn't it look like a yellow person, or it's yellow?
honestly,
like
I've never
T-posing
noticed. I never
thing?
even.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And that's the Transcendence buff.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess another little tidbit: if the boss ends, like you kill a boss or you kill the pack, whatever, and you're dead at the end, and people run away and don't raise you, they're not being rude.
No.
Raising you, no matter what, in a combat, out of combat, doesn't matter. You do get the res sickness. You will have reduced stats. But if you're in the dungeon and you just release, you will zip back to the beginning of the dungeon, no debuff, and every dungeon has a teleport thing to get you to that boss.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not well, pick yourself up. You wanted to die, blah, blah, blah. It's not a weird thing like that. It's literally just, no, it makes more sense. Just go back. I don't want you to have the debuff. Like,
Yeah.
and you literally just teleport back to the boss room because there's always a teleporter at the start to get you back. So
And you'll
it's
just be right back with everybody.
you're losing all of 10 seconds tops to get back.
Yeah.
So no, that's not a rude thing, because I've seen newer players like, no one's gonna res me. Why? Like, we're not being
I
mean.
used to get offended until I understood.
Yeah, it's in WoW, that was absolutely like a rude thing to do.
Yeah.
Because usually there's no teleport or anything. You just had to run the whole way. And it's like, really, guys? And they were like, could make your way back, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, whatever. It was a passive aggressive, like, rude thing to do. But in Final Fantasy, it's the opposite. It's not about being rude. It's just the game's not punishing you for dying. Like, it teleports you right back. Just come back. But that's if the boss dies. If the boss isn't dead yet, just don't release.
Don't release.
Don't release.
Dan.
Yeah.
We've all done it. I've done it.
This
It's
one
just
makes me release.
you're just sitting there and you're like thinking you're accepting the res because you're just, I died again. Stupid thing. You click OK on the button, but that OK button just released you and sent you to the beginning. And now
then you're locked out.
You're locked out of the fight. So
just lay on the ground if the fight's still ongoing. I'd say if the
hang out.
boss has like 5% or less, then maybe just release.
Yeah,
But
I've been there where it's like the boss is real low. I'll just release and like, they're gonna kill it. There's no point in rezzing me.
Yeah, but definitely the sickness. Try not to have it if you can.
Yeah, and if you die twice and they res you twice, it doubles up. It's 50% of your main stat gone. Pretty brutal to your damage.
Yep.
Fun fact, in the early days, it did that to your vitality.
Whoa!
Man, that's really
terrible.
awful.
Yeah, I read about that.
Die again.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was back in my day. It was more punishing. Like I hear the people saying that now.
Oh boy.
I didn't even play
It was
during that time. I just read about it and I was like, holy cow!
It was harder in 2.0.
Back when the game was fun.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. But yeah, definitely if you're playing a healer, you can macro swift cast raise a little bit. And so just save yourself the keybind if you're if you're rezzing people.
I haven't done that personally. Mostly because I built the muscle memory for it because mine is shift 1 and shift tilde. So swift
yeah.
cast is on 1 and then the tilde right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a quick bop bop. So that's just always how. And plus, in case I want to use swift cast for something else, like I don't mix it up, and I just
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely have it. I have Swiftcast open, but then I macroed it, but it'll do a Swiftcast raise if Swiftcast is available. If not, it'll just be a regular raise.
Okay. Makes sense.
makes sense. I could see it
Yep.
definitely working. I don't know. I haven't felt the need. I've been doing okay, but you could do it.
Yeah.
I know some people love it. They feel that. I don't know what to call it. Like, I don't know. My brain just doesn't like macros for some reason, and I don't know why.
I like don't trust them. I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with them, but like don't use them for everything because it's
Oh
not
god.
gonna work.
Yeah.
With timing stuff, you're gonna clip all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can't macro combat abilities very well just because of the nature of how the ability queuing system works in Final Fantasy. You just can't macro very well. I think you can macro like Swift is an OGCD, while Raise is a GCD and then some. So that's why it works. But if you're trying to macro like GCD abilities together, you can't.
Yeah, no.
Oh my gosh. I guess the last thing we could is like abilities. You have a GCD ability and you have off GCD abilities. And
Yes.
so your GCD is like something where you see like the little timer go around on your ability. It spins.
And
Like you can't use it yet.
the standard global cooldown is 2.5 seconds.
Yep. And then there's other abilities that you can kind of like push in between the 2.5 seconds. And that's what they call weaving and using your like OGCDs, your off global cooldown abilities. And sometimes that will like maybe give you a damage boost or extra damage, or maybe survival abilities like your anti-knockback, like healing. So it is important to keep your GCD rolling and also sort of weave in these extra things between the 2.5 seconds or whatever your skill or spell
Yes.
speed you have.
Actually, that was something when I was new that I messed up because
Yeah, I didn't know.
I like opening up with just a ton of OGCD abilities and just spamming them out when you're supposed to be weaving them, and like, don't do that. Don't.
Yeah.
You don't. It's funny just looking back and thinking about it. And if I saw somebody else doing it, it would just be like, oh yeah, they don't know. They don't know.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yep.
you don't have to mash out all of your OGCDs. You're not supposed to. You should be weaving them in between your GCDs.
Yep.
And yeah, it's advanced. You'll figure it out. It's something to practice while you're leveling as you get new abilities and, to fit those. I think it's usually weapon skills. That might only be melees and fizz ranged, and okay, it's pretty much everyone. But so weapon skills are the OGCDs and abilities are GCDs. Does anyone remember that?
No, I don't.
I didn't get that specific.
No.
No, it is actually differentiation. I can't remember which way it goes.
I can't.
But
I don't know.
If it says like weapon skill, I think it's an OGCD, and if it says ability, that's actually a GCD.
Oh, okay. I usually test it on a test, like a target dummy.
And that's the other.
I press the button and see if it would like rotate. Like, oh, you have 2.5 seconds, but I guess that could be a way too.
Yeah, there's all kinds of ways. You'll have also just by playing and pushing the buttons, you'll start to figure out. Yeah, as long as you're paying attention to it a little bit, you'll figure it out. It'll come together. They give you abilities pretty slowly.
Yeah.
So just learn it and do it.
Yep.
Learn it by doing it. That's a better way to put that.
Just
Yeah.
don't be afraid to push your buttons.
Yeah. Gave them to you for a reason.
This is very true. Put everything on your hotbar, please. Like,
Except for sleep.
no, keep that. I mean, okay,
One
I
day
only
it might
say
be
that because
useful.
there's
one
one
time a
trial,
year.
one trial in one of the expansions where I remember hastily scrambling to put sleep on my healer hotbar because I didn't have it on there. Because I never used it. And I was so
There's
mad.
a trial. I
But,
don't even know. There's a trial? Because I've done all of them and I've never
Yeah.
used sleep.
Well, I guess I shouldn't say trial. It's like a one person like duty sort of deal in Shadowbringers.
Oh, that. I know exactly what you're
Yeah.
talking. Yeah, I remember
Yup.
that. Okay, so there was one time in this one thing you had to do once in Shadowbringers where you had to use
But
sleep.
okay.
And it was
But, like,
specifically a
okay.
healer thing.
If you're a caster, like DPS caster, keep sleep on your hotbar because I've definitely been in situations where I was running a dungeon and the tank died, so like I just swift cast sleep on the pack of enemies, and if people catch on to what you're doing, they won't continue to AoE and they'll give the healer time to get the tank back up, heal them up, and they can reestablish aggro. I've done that quite a few times. It's very nice.
It is nice. It's Giga Chad Gaming, but also you have to have your other party members realize because any damage will break the sleep.
Yeah,
That's kind of the hard
it's
part.
definitely that is the hard part. I've been contemplating making a macro that, like, when I press sleep, it says something in chat like I'm sleeping this pack of enemies. Please don't continue to AoE or something. But I'll usually have to press it a couple of times because people won't realize. When they realize, you can tell, and they're like, "Oh, that's so cool." I've definitely had people thank me.
Yeah, it is. That is a nice thing.
It's a pretty niche thing.
It's
Yeah,
an
extremely niche. But it's still handy. If you have the space, I say keep it there. Which you should have the space. But it's up to you.
I never use the damn thing. I never touch it.
I don't use it on healer though.
No.
It's just not.
It's single target. It's not as useful.
Yeah, I guess, because I forgot that the DPS one is AoE, but yeah, healers is single target. Absolutely no reason. There's one time, like Clarissa pointed out, there is one little duty. You'll know it. You probably won't have sleep on your bars, and then you'll be running
You have time to put it on.
Yeah, there will be they knew when they made that thing. They knew you wouldn't have it on your bars. Because it's just, you never use it. It's so unfortunate that it's...
Yeah.
I know what some of you might be thinking. Oh, just sleep them and then you can sneak by the thing. And no, it causes aggro.
Yep.
So you can't even use it to skip anything. It's just...
No.
Yeah, just not very useful. But it's one of the abilities of the game. So...
It is.
But yeah, I think we've... I think we've covered most of the new player stuff that we would talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Hope everybody had a notebook. Make some notes, because, geez.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you ever really, like, if any new players are out there listening, you can always contact us on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or any comment on YouTube or whatever, and we can help you out. If you want help in a group, we can help you out. Encourage you if you've been thinking about playing Final Fantasy, like hop in. And if you don't have like a community or group, just like let us know and we can help you.
100%. Yeah.
I'm always happy to
help. My gosh, I didn't even bring this. This is super fast. Because, helping you guys out, even if, like, we come into a group just to run a dungeon with you because you're nervous about it or whatever, we will not ruin the experience because the game does a good job of scaling us down. So we can be on our level 90, but it'll bring us down to that level 20 dungeon, and we're not just going to one-shot the whole thing and ruin it for you. Like, you can actually just run the dungeon with us, and there's no problem. It's fine. It's a perfectly... it's a perfectly not, maybe it's a bit easier than it would have been with all new sprouts, but yeah, it's going to be a run that, you'll have fun. You'll enjoy it. So
Yeah.
there's no harm in having a friend come in and you just let them know, hey, I just want to run it the way it's supposed to be. And most people will say, hey, do you want me to just one-shot it for you? And if you say no, like, they'll get it. Most people will get it.
Yeah.
You just want to run it and play the game. Like, yeah, go for it. So don't be afraid of that. Max level people can come in and they won't ruin it. And
Nope.
odds are, if you queue up for it, you'll get someone that was max level. And they'll be scaled down to you anyway. And yeah, it'll be fine.
Yep. But yeah, if you're a new player, you want to check it out, you don't have a strong community yet, feel free to reach out to us.
Clear for Raid Squad.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's it for the week. I think we've hit all of our goals
We did.
to talk about.
Mhm.
We went a bit over on our time. We wanted to go a little bit short, but we just can't help ourselves.
Yeah. Agreed.
Um,
But I'd say thanks for listening and like, follow, subscribe
Smash
to
the
our
bell.
podcast. Yes. And give us feedback if you want to hear something or you maybe want something else out of us, let us know.
Questions, anything. Like,
yeah.
Just whatever. We're down for it. We can handle it.
Yep.
All right, we will see everyone in a week's time again next week, whatever. And hope everyone has a great time gaming, and hopefully we have a new update that you guys are on to the next phase in T.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. New music incoming for sure.
Oh my god.
All right, see everybody next time.
Bye.
Bye.